It's Tuesday night, and we're supposed to be in Palm Springs, but we're not. We're wherever we are, and we are doing these virtual events. They're doing them all day, and we will also be doing our part with APA every night at 6:30. So come join us, meet some of the people with APA this way. So we want to have different discussions tonight. We're talking about shooting high-profile talent. Tomorrow night we have the diversity panel. Last night we had some of our board members, and we're going to be posting all these on YouTube so that people can watch them there. I'm really pleased with that everybody who's been willing to jump on this so quickly and participate. There's also a diversity panel symposium that I moderated last night that's on the Palm Springs website, but the Palm Springs Photo Festival website has lots of free seminars and talks going on all week. So definitely check that out. apanational.org. We've got a lot of the information on our site, and you should be checking out our site as well. You can see all the APA award winners. Everybody here is an APA award winner this year, so you can find them on our site. And I'm Juliet Wolf-Robin. I'm the National Executive Director of APA National, and we have been around since 1981. We are a photo association primarily for commercial, advertising, editorial, fine art photographers. And our mission is really to try to help photographers succeed in business and be a community. And the community is what you're seeing here. It's events that we have at the chapter level, educational things that we do. So come check it out at apanational.org. So let me introduce you to who we have today. Elizabeth Karen is on the APA LA board, so thank you for participating in that way with APA LA, and she's been doing some of the interviews through APA LA. She put together the women's panel that we've done in Los Angeles, which has been really amazing, so you definitely want to check that out. She won first place this year for the celebrity category, so congratulations, Elizabeth. And she has been doing a ton of work for HBO, NBC, Universal, Sony, Fox, Emmy Magazine, Los Angeles Magazine. And she really likes to go to outdoor movies, which is good because nobody's going to see them inside for a while. So we're glad she's here. And she also works with animal rescue because, you know, who doesn't want to hug a dog once in a while, right? So we have Joe Puliaci, who, if you saw a couple of years ago, had the Best in Show and was on the cover of the APA Awards, has been very supportive of APA, is in Los Angeles. And if you've seen the billboards around for Successions, which is such a popular show on HBO, those billboards where they're all at the table, that's him. You've seen a ton of his work for all the different TV studios that are out there. And he likes to bicycle through the Hollywood Hills and Malibu, which sounds crazy to me, but that's what he's doing. So we'll see a bike going by, check to see if it's Joe. We have Stephen Voss, who's been part of our APA DC chapter, and he photographs a lot of different politicians. So they're celebrities of a different kind. So very much the DC crowd of celebrities. So he's been an award winner in the past, he's an award winner now, and sometimes it's also for his images that he has of protests that take place, of demonstrations. He's been doing a lot of that. You can see that on his site. I was looking at his site and it says he likes to garden and run and read, and I thought, well, that's good because those are all things you can do right now by yourself. So very good things to like to do. So let's start with Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, I was hoping you could talk a little bit about some of the things you do when you're on set, because I've noticed that you have, everything feels so unique and different, but you're dealing with stylists, and are you bringing your own? Are you setting up everything ahead of time, or when you get there, are you using the people that they have? How do you make each one look so unique and different and perfectly beautiful?
Wow. Well, thank you. First of all, I just want to say I love the Palm Springs Photo Festival. I've been many times. I love going. I'm sad we're not there this year, but I'm happy that we're doing this. And thank you for having me. And I'm in incredible company. And I wanted to thank you, Joe and Stephen, for doing this too. So your question: okay, actually, Art Streiber. I took a class many years ago from Art Streiber, and he said you have to be unbelievably prepared and unbelievably flexible. And I always think about that, and it's totally true. You have to be extremely prepared, well-researched on the subject. I always come up with a ton of ideas. I love to do concept and like narratives. I come from a theater background. I love doing theatrical portraits, and you can't always do a theatrical portrait for whatever reason. It depends on what the job is. If it's a TV gallery key art shoot, that's completely decided beforehand. If it's an editorial shoot, it could be something that you can plan ahead of time. Sometimes you can't plan ahead of time. I mean, you can plan to an extent. And I was going to tell a time where I was shooting Elizabeth Moss, and I knew I would have probably 15 minutes with her. We were going to shoot in the lobby of a theater at our agency. She was doing a screening at our agency. So I brought a backdrop, and I also wanted to shoot in the theater. I didn't know what the theater was going to look like. So then I had to I had two plans. I had the backdrop for like a standard portrait. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to use the theater in some way if I can. And the theater was all red. It was like reflecting red. So I didn't know that was going to happen. But I also had told my assistant, time me how much time we have. I want to time. And it turned out we had 6 minutes for both looks, plus the transition. Plus the transition. But she was amazing. And when they're amazing, when these, they're pros, they can just concentrate and dial it in, and they nail it. So that's amazing when you're under that kind of pressure, especially pressure. But I'd like to always try to come up with like 5-6 ideas. We pitch it to the publicist, and sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. No concept, just straight portrait. So ahead of time. But I just try to, like, if I can do something a little bit different, I try, and I bring my own props, or I bring my own sets to these kind of shoots. But you don't always get that opportunity.
Okay, so Joe, when a lot of your images, they look like you have this very intimate relationship with the celebrities, like you have this friendship and they look so comfortable. So what happens when you don't have a lot of time? How do you make them quickly get comfortable with you?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. And also just to echo Elizabeth, thank you for inviting us to this. I'm a big fan of Elizabeth and Stephen's work, so it's nice to be on this panel. But I think, it's really a matter of setting your own expectations and trying to understand how your expectations match the subject's expectations. So I really, I think early in my career, I was really sort of more nervous about every single shoot, and I wanted to get the most out of every single one. And I think later and recently, and maybe in the last few years, I've been trying to have a really extremely empathetic approach to my subjects. So try to get in their head. And I also think a lot about what the shoot is. If it's a 5-minute shoot, like Elizabeth and Stephen are both familiar with, it's not the time to be pals. It's not the time to, make small talk. Even if there's a little bit of small talk, I think that goes a long way. But I think you want to sort of tune into, sometimes they come in marching in and it's a press junket day and they have 10 shoots that day and you're one of them. If you try to be the one who wants to hang out and wants to really extract something, they don't necessarily have the energy for it. I'm speaking about all subjects, not just high profile subjects. So I think managing what the parameters are. And then there are studio days where they have nothing but time. I'm not nothing but time, but for me, 3 hours is nothing but time. If anyone ever gave me 3 hours, I feel like I don't know what to do with all that. But I think it's nice when they feel like you're seeing them for the place they are when they come on set. So I really don't have any sort of canned things to say or tricks or anything. Every single subject is a unique experience, and I let that sort of guide me.
And Stephen, so you're dealing with celebrities of another kind. You have the politicians in DC who probably have a very specific idea about how they need to be represented. So how do you deal with that? Like, do you go in and because of the angle you shoot them or the lighting, you could editorialize about them? Do they look at that with you? Do you make a decision beforehand? What happens? What's the process for you?
Again, thank you for having me here. This is a pleasure to be in such great company. Similar to what Joe said, I like to meet people on their level. I like to forget about politics. I'm in DC. I'm very tuned into politics, but when someone comes in, I try to do that quick read of them, like where they are in this moment and what can I, what can we do together? What can we get? I come from a photojournalism background, and there's sort of this idea of objectivity and that sort of thing, which, as I've worked more as a portrait photographer, I realize is not really what I'm after. I'm after sort of this like subjective truth. And some politicians, they're all different and they have different levels of charisma and different levels of comfort in front of a camera. It's amazing, politicians who are on the weekly news shows every weekend still are some of them are not super comfortable in front of the camera. So I want to work with them. I want to go on this path together. And, often it is a very short amount of time. So, so much of the success of the shoot comes from the preparation and how I think about that shoot. Like, people in restaurants have this idea of mise en place, right? Where you get all your tools ready before the shoot or before your service, you're cutting your vegetables, you're making sure your knives are sharpened. So I try to get everything in place, both in, a logistical sense, but also kind of a mental space. So I'm in a really good place to kind of come in. I love having a lot of ideas, and I love also letting there be space for things to happen. Even when it's less than 10 minutes, I want there to be room for moments to happen. And that's something, something I think I've learned later in my career. It used to be I'd kind of go in with my shot list and I'd just try to get through my shot list and hope something worked out. And what I realized is that I really need to let things happen even when we are really time constrained. And that's been, for me at least, a helpful thing as I spend that time, talking to a subject. Even again, when we're time constrained, I want that minute or two at the beginning to say, this is what we're after. This is what we're trying to do. And I love, I watch speeches, I watch them campaign, I watch lots of video of them to kind of get a sense of their mannerisms, because I find it really helpful to, especially with politicians who are naturally a little suspicious sometimes of the press, to be able to reference something and say, hey, in this campaign speech, I saw that you kind of do this thing with your hand. I'd love to see that. And when it's talking to them, they're much more comfortable taking a direction of something they've already done that can make a good photo. So that's something I often do again in that preparation phase.
Great, thank you. I know it's going quick. We only have a minute left. I really wanted to go in a deeper dive with each of you, but this is about like little flavor of APA. I don't know if any of you have anything you wanted to put out there, but we really want to invite people to be part of the organization. If anybody would like to join APA who's not already a member, I really encourage you to reach out to us. We're offering a discount for anybody who joins during the week of the Palm Springs Photo Festival. So email me, executive director at apanational.com, even though we're .org, just so you know. Anything else? Any final words from anyone?
Yeah,
I would say too, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just going to say, these APA events, it's so nice that they've gone into this space, because the idea of community is so important, has been so important in my career. And I think Elizabeth and Stephen can speak to that too, of what we learn when we talk to each other and when we reach out to each other and when we support each other. That's what makes all of photography better. So I really appreciate APA and all their support.
Yeah, I would just echo that. There's a lot of value in being around other creative people who are kind of wrestling with the same things you are. And it's really, it can be really affirming to know that people you really look up to, people you admire, have kind of struggled with the same things you have. And APA is like a great community, both in, nationwide, but also, locally here in DC. We have an incredible chapter that does amazing work. And, they're people I can count on, they're people I can bounce ideas off of. So it's become a really valuable part of my creative process.
And I just want to add, you get to talk to some of your heroes. I mean, that's an amazing thing to do, to be able to be in a space and listen in person, well, now online, but still with people you admire and respect so much. And that has been one of my favorite things that I've been able to do with APA.
Good, thank you. Well, there is apparently there's other things you can log on to on the Palm Springs Photo Festival that are starting tonight in just another 10 minutes. There'll be another program and every night. So if you go to their website, you can check out all the programming. So thank you to all of you who participated. I have so many more questions. I was asking you questions beforehand. You're gonna have to come back. We'll have to do webinars specifically with each of you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.